Okay, good evening or good morning or wherever you are. Welcome to another episode of this series that I've been doing, and hopefully I'm gonna do a bit of a better opening this time. But as you can see, I'm sitting with GaRpY, Gareth Marshall. Is that your last name?
Yep, that's right, mate. Yep,
Cool,
yep.
I got it right. Yeah, I've got a thing for
Yeah.
names. But yeah, I'm sitting with GaRpY here. So I've been wanting to interview you for quite some time, and it's nice to finally have the opportunity to do it. So, welcome, and how are you?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Busy as always. But yeah, it's we're looking forward to this interview. I've not done one in so long,
Yeah,
so
okay,
it's gonna
nice
be
to
good.
hear.
Gonna be good.
Yeah. So busy, a lot of work with Myztro, or is that what you're doing?
Yeah, a bit of everything, mate. Myztro, my other company, and bits and pieces.
Oh, you've got another company as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, damn.
Do something completely different. A lot of people now I do steel work as well. So
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, could be quite nice, to get a little bit of everything, I suppose.
yep, yep.
And yeah, for those who don't know, that's Senek who's sitting in the back, by the way. So he's also going to be
Yeah.
a
He's
company.
trying to
Just
he's trying to get good at Quake. That's what he's trying in the
yeah,
background.
yeah. And yeah, GaRpY took him in, and he's gonna teach him everything, I suppose. Yeah.
Teach him how not to play.
uh, so yeah. So I mean, yeah. But how's life otherwise? How's yeah, like yeah, how's life otherwise? I think that's a pretty open question, but I think it's really good.
Um, it's been a difficult last couple of months, just with personal reasons. With well, it's kind of on a sad point. My mum passed away in November, so since then it's been difficult just dealing with day to day life and just trying to get back into it now, just playing a bit more. Um, and just sorting things out basically. So yeah, it's been a rough couple of months, but other than that, it's going pretty well. I'm not too bad.
Nice to hear. Nice to hear. And so yeah, I've and how's it going with Quake, by the way? Like because obviously you're still sort of semi involved in competing.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get back. I'm trying. Yeah, it's been like I say difficult with work and with Maestro. It's just a lot of stuff I do in the background. So getting time to play is difficult. But I still love competing. I love I love playing in competition. Um, so I'm trying to get back to some kind of shape, so I feel like I'm actually competing instead of just turning up. Because I know I can play. Um, but I think I've just had a bit of a mental block, and probably still have. Probably the past year or so. But yeah, it's just trying to work around. And to be fair, with Zanaku being here, he's helping me quite a lot to practice a bit more. He actually does a lot of things with practicing and helping me and talking to me and things I've never really done, which is quite interesting. So I'm hoping I can one step at a time. Hopefully, I can get qualified for QuakeCon as a first step, and then get some good preparation then for the actual tournament.
Hmm. Yeah. So the passion is still there, in other words, to
Oh
compete.
yeah,
Yeah. Because from what I have understood, you're also working with Maestro like on the management side. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I took over Myztro 2 years ago, so Myztro is actually my company.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I do a lot behind the scenes as well. Um, but yeah, there's me and you'd met Nigel, so basically we're business partners.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me and Nigel. I got a big Nigel up because he does majority of the stuff.
Okay.
He does it actually. Let's just say he does everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just here to support him and pat him on the back and go, "You're doing a great job, mate."
Yeah.
But now me and Nigel get on really well, so it's been going great. Like I say, we're doing pretty well, and we're really happy with how things are going. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
I'm happy to hear it. Yeah, seems like Myztro is doing well. Yesterday we got the announcement that there's a Iron Fist 2 coming up, so that's pretty hype. But we'll
Yeah, we've
go on.
got quite a lot of interest in that. The last Iron Fist we did well, went really well actually. I think everyone really enjoyed it. Um, but again, a lot of work goes into it, so it's nice to see and everyone turns up and enjoys the event, and you just get positive feedback. And I know there's things that we could potentially do better for next time, but
Yeah.
overall, it was I really think it was a successful event. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting the next one sorted. Don't ask me dates because I'm not allowed to say.
I
But
wasn't
yeah,
going
we
to, I
don't.
swear.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, yeah, it's definitely looking forward to the next one. So yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah, everyone's looking forward to it because I feel like now's a. I mean, you probably remember how QPL was back in the days. I wasn't around back then, but I think there was like 3 LANs per season. So
Yeah,
3 LAN finals. It's kind of different now. I think everyone who follows QPL knows that there's no other planned LANs than QuakeCon, and so for that reason, it's always nice to have some a completely external organizer who comes in and does something like that. It's just like it's like a I don't know, I don't exactly remember the words I used the last time, but I think it's like a gift from heaven. It's sort of like it keeps the scene alive so nicely, because if there wouldn't have been any big tier one land, because there's also a tier one land, right? Because
yeah.
there's a few
Yeah,
smaller lands maybe, but this is 16 of the best players in the world basically.
yeah, and I think the last one was done at the right time, like you say, because QPL, it just basically that season and quite kind of ended, and then there was a big stopgap between that and when the league was starting again. So yeah, like you say, it gives the players something to look forward to, and the community to follow and enjoy, and to because there was no lands last year. I know there was events, but there was no lands, so it was nice to actually get a land going and get in the top. Like I say, the top 16 players, bar a few that could have made because of obvious reasons.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was an amazing event. And it was good.
yeah, it really was, and I think I was talking about it. The timing couldn't be more perfect either, because I think I actually remember. I remember so all the players, most of the players came there on Wednesday. We came there on Thursday, I think, and then I think on Friday or something, the UK had some updated their restrictions or whatever, so which would have made
Yeah,
it a lot harder for people coming in, like from outside. Uh, so yeah, the timing was great, and the fact that we could have it during, because it was a pandemic after all, and
yeah, yeah,
it was pretty sick. It was like when we came there, you just forgot about all that stuff, and it was pretty sick to just be there and enjoy some Quake for a couple of days. So yeah, yeah, I think everyone's like super super thankful for it. Absolutely. Um, from what I saw, it also got a lot of following. Uh,
yeah.
People watching the streams and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty sick, pretty sick. Um, I was gonna say something more about it, but I actually forgot. Uh, but I might remember it later.
No problem. We can
Uh,
come back to it.
so one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you is because you have such a long ass career behind you, and I know
I'm
you've
old, mate.
yeah, I
But
know
you're
you've
calling me
made
old now.
yeah. I'm not calling
I
you
know.
old. I'm just calling you experienced, because as we all know, age doesn't fucking matter in Quake. It's like it's just it's all about the experience, and that's why I wanted to sort of wind back the clock, because I'm personally aware of it. I'm not sure how many people know about your history, but one thing that I think is interesting is that you don't come from you didn't start with Quake, right? Because you started
No.
with, I think, am I saying, am I right if I say that you started with Half-Life Deathmatch, or is that incorrect?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah, and that's, I say, would you call that an arena FPS, or what was it?
Oh yeah. Definitely. It was. It was an arena FPS. Yeah. Fast paced. It was faster than Quake. Um. I think it was more in depth than Quake as well. All the stuff you could do, and I played that for Jesus. I think from when I was about 11 till I was 16.
Okay.
And like I say, we had Sunday leagues, clan base, Barry's World, Nations Cups, dual tournaments. Well, online stuff. It was never made it mainstream kind of thing. But the community was amazing in it. If you get what I mean, the leagues and everything was fantastic, and I just really enjoyed playing the game. Just I enjoyed playing it. Yeah, it was good old times. And to think when I first started playing this, see, now you're going to show my age, mate. This is what I'm saying. You're saying I'm old. So I remember my mum and dad buying me a PC. I used to play on my brother's PC. My brother played it originally, and I used to jump on his PC. Um, and my mum and dad bought me a PC for my birthday. And I remember what PC was, and it was top spec at the time, and it was a P2 350 megahertz. Now, yeah, kids would be like, "What? What? What's that?" I was playing on I think it was a 12. Is it a 12.2K modem or a 12.8? Anyway, dial up.
Dial.
Everyone on yeah, dial up. Everyone had like 600. I remember being in a server, and you was classed as a low pinger if you had below 200 ping. Now, I never seen anyone with below 200 ping. We used to all play on 500 to 600 ping, and that was like local servers. So we used to play that. I used to get like 12 frames per second. I don't even think I had a graphics card at the time. It was running off the onboard, mate. It was amazing. I used to love it. I used to play for hours and I remember because it was dial up, you had to pay for your internet. I remember mom and dad getting the first phone bill, and it was like £500. Mom and dad was like, "What the?" is this? But yeah, but I think it's great that I've lived through those days, if you get what I mean, because then you had like ADSL, and then like the fiber come along, and blah blah blah. And like I say, kids, there was no like net code back then, so if you can imagine on a 600 ping trying to shoot someone, I was aiming like 2 days in front of them to predict where they was going. But I do
Jeez.
actually, but I do actually think, looking back now, that prediction helps me now
Yeah.
because my rocket prediction, I think, is really good. And I think probably talking about it now is probably going back to then where I used to have to predict where everyone was going because of playing on that ping. Like I say, there was no there was no net code, so you had to aim miles in front of someone. So when you shot, it was yeah, but yeah, it was good. It was good. Long time ago, yeah. Showing my age now, mate. Experience. That's what I like to. Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
the
not old,
experience.
not at all, at all. No, no, no. So if everybody had like 200 ping, 200 ping was the lowest, while people were playing with 300-400,
Yeah,
and that was still when Nations Cup, all that was around. You had all those tournaments with that crappy conditions.
yeah.
Jesus. And was there any money involved, or was it more like a community thing?
It was just a community. It was just for fun,
Yeah.
basically. But I want to say I didn't play along with that ping, um, because I remember then I upgraded to a 56K modem, which then you could get about 180 ping. So like on average, probably people would be playing between 150 and 200 in the leagues and
Okay.
everything. Um, but yeah, but it was just no one moaned. It was just good fun. It's just well, we knew no difference. That was the problem.
Exactly.
That's why I laughed when like kids come on now and it's like, oh, you did this that. I'm like, Jesus, you just not lived through what we've been through. It's like everything should hit perfectly. Everything should be this. And like when you think what we do nowadays with like the Quake cons and the Pro League, to even imagine playing tournaments worldwide and it actually running. I know it's not perfect, but running as good as it does is amazing when you think how the distance of people are living and how the technology's come on to nowadays. That's why you never hear me really moan about anything about netcode, because I actually think the netcode in Quake Champions is one of the best netcodes I've ever played on. So I know a lot of people moan about getting shot round corners, but when you shot that bullet, you was actually in the person's view, so it should hit. If you was on land, it would hit.
Yeah.
It's just it would update quicker. So it's like people seem to struggle to get that through their minds on how things work. I know it's frustrating at times, but the person actually hit you when you was there. You just need to allow for it. But to think how it's come on from back then to now is unbelievable.
Oh yeah, certainly. Yeah, it certainly brings a whole new perspective to it that, as you say, many youngsters don't understand. And I mean, I'm 23. I've never played, I've never actually competed or played any arena FPS on a high level. I just played Counter Strike all day, all day, all day long. So it's still like sort of the same. I played a lot of 1.6, so it's a similar engine to the Half-Life engine, right? So it's not,
Yeah.
but still, I think what you're saying is very true because I think because you grew up with all that stuff, like what 600 ping and shitty net code and having to predict like like as you say that far
Yeah.
off. I think that first of all it humbles you into like you say not complain about the netcode that we have today, and also it's good. It actually gives you a benefit, like you say as well with the rocket prediction, and also the fact that you become so hardened. I think that you played on such, in today's standards, terrible conditions, but
Oh
back
yeah.
then you didn't know, so you couldn't compare it to anything. So, and that's what I find so insanely interesting because, yeah, you had so many good points that I just totally agree with them, but I just wanted to like to say it myself as well that kids growing up now, uh, let's say what a 15-year-old Fortnite player who's like competing on a top level, obviously they're extremely skilled, right? But
Yeah.
it took more skill to become good back in those days. That's just I just cannot think that anyone wouldn't agree with that because under those conditions, I feel like it's the conditions that you played under. It just sounds so absurd. And I'm telling you, I love watching HLDM demos because it looks, obviously I've played a lot of Half-Life as well. I've never played multiplayer, but I played a shit ton of regular Half-Life. So I know
Yeah.
how the game works. I know all the weapons. I know their how they work. But still, if you look at there's demos of you. I've watched several, and if you look at that, you're like, what the fuck is going on? It's like like it just looks like you're abusing the mechanics to 100%, and also it looks so wobbly and weird compared to Quake, which kind of looks, it's Quake's like, strict, cemented, and
Yeah. Yeah.
in in
Smooth.
in in HLDM the screen is tilting and like it just, I don't know, man. I just can't explain it, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you say that. I've only ever played one single player game. You know where you get like you buy a game, you got the multiplayer on it, but you've also got like the campaigns on it as well.
Yeah.
And Half Life was the only single player I've ever played all the way through from
Okay.
start to finish.
Okay.
From then to now, every other game I've ever got or played professionally, I've never even looked at the single player options. Just gone straight multiplayer. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. Yeah. Well, I can't think of a more fitting game to play through though. I mean, Half-Life is
Yeah,
fantastic.
it was amazing, amazing single player.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was revolutionary at the time as well.
Yeah,
I wasn't around, but well, I was actually born the same year that it was released, but
1999.
99? Wasn't it released 98?
Oh no, mate. Jeez, I'm sure it was 99, but I'm gonna look bad now, ain't I?
I
I'm
think
actually looking that up.
the Counter-Strike beta was released 99. I think Half-Life came out 98. I'm not sure though.
Yes, you're right, mate. End of 98.
Okay, okay, good.
Okay, it's nearly 99.
All right. So we were both correct. I'll give you, yeah, 50-50, I'd say.
Oh, cheers, mate.
All right.
I might have
Um
just started playing it in 99.
yeah, maybe yeah, because it was late 98. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Um so okay, so HLDM, is that how you say it? HLDM, or do you say Half-Life Deathmatch? Like
um, yeah, well, I just say Half Life. That's because, like I say, we used to play Adrenaline. It was AG, Half Life AG, which was a pro mod for Half Life, which was Adrenaline Gamer. Um, so that's what we played. but yeah, just half. I just when you say Half-Life, it's Half-Life to me. That's what it
Okay,
is.
okay. Okay, so Half-Life was the first game that you started competing in, and then before this interview started, I went into your Wikipedia page, and the first obviously this fucking sorry for swearing sorry obviously this the Arena FPS Wikipedia is sort of still in alpha. It's not really, it doesn't have everything on it, but
Yeah.
the first thing I could find was Painkiller, that played back in 2005. Was that the first? Was that the second game that you went to, or did you play any other Quake before or anything else before that?
No, actually, the first game I played. Oh, okay, competitive. Okay, professionally, I would say, what do you class as being professional? Is that being signed by a team and actually playing for that team while signed? Because if that's what you say, then I actually was professional in CS first. I was actually playing CS professionally. I was signed to play CS because I played that back. I used to play that a load. Again, I'll show my age. I played the very first mod of Half-Life, CS on Half-Life. So when it was the very first Maker CS, I played it from then till I think about 1.5.
Okay,
And I stopped playing at one point. I never played 1.6.
okay.
And I started playing again when it was Source. So I actually got signed to a team, contracted um, for playing Source.
Oh,
And it was weird. It's a weird story, mate. I, I've always played Half-Life Arena FPS. I played Source, but I didn't like. I enjoyed it, but I don't know. I just hated relying on my teammates. It just really bugged me all the time. Because if I lose, I like to think it's because of me I lost. So if you play duel, if you lose, it's only me you can blame. It's me. I messed up. But in CS, when I was playing, I'm blowing my own trumpet here, but I was probably the best player in the CS team. So it was just frustrating whenever we lost. That I was like, come on, guys, Jesus.
yeah.
Some of the stuff they was doing was like, man, this is stupid. So it was funny. I actually, I don't know, you probably don't know, but I played for a team. It was called Z-Board. Um, and how I got into Painkiller was through CS. So Z-Board had two players that played Painkiller while I was playing CS. So we got talking and we had a bit of banter and we was not arguing, but these two guys were like, "Yeah, you'll never beat us on Painkiller. You're a CS player," and I was like, "Come on, guys." Um, So basically, I had a bet with them. I said, I'll bet you within a month I can beat you both on Painkiller. So I played for a week. I beat the one within a week. It's funny because he quit. He never played again after I beat him. He just stopped playing the game. He was like, well, we're gonna. And then the other guy I beat 3 weeks later. But after beating him, um, the team I was in wanted me to play Painkiller for him instead of CS.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, that's great. I'll go and play I'll go and play Painkiller because it's dual. It's what I like. It's FPS Arena. Um, and then I don't know if you know Zachabas at all.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, you know Zachabas. So Zachabas is a really good friend of mine. We've been friends. He got me playing professionally. So I started playing with him on Painkiller. So I started training with him, and he was like, "Oh, you're really good." Blah 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 blah. Because Zachabas was one of the best players at the time at Painkiller. I think he was top 6 player or whatever. Um, and I was giving him good games, and he was like, "Mate, you need to come to an event or we're at a LAN where there's this CPL World Tour, but it had already been half gone. So the first stop I went to, I think, was Singapore. And I asked my mum and dad. I said, "Will you pay for me to go to here?" Blah 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 blah. And they did. And I went. And when I played there, it was 2 or 3 teams were like, "Who are you? We don't know where you come from. I don't know." You know what I mean? So then they offered me contracts, and then it just went on from there. I played for Tech9 at the time, um, through Painkiller, and at the end of Painkiller, I think I went to who did I go to? I think it was All the Rage. Um, after Painkiller, my first Quake was actually Quake 4. So after Painkiller, I went to Quake 4. Um, and I played for them for all the rage. Then I went to Dignitas, and I was in Dignitas for 9 years, maybe longer, 9, 10 years. I think I played for Dignitas for. So yeah, so I played Quake 4. I think from Quake 4 I went to UT3, and then I went back. Then I went to Quake Live. Then I played Quake 5 for a bit. Then there was a UK, I think it was EPS UK for Quake 3 Arena.
Yeah.
And I played that. I literally played that for a month.
And you
So I
won
was
that
playing,
tournament.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I was going to say I was playing that, and I was playing against DDK, Hell, Chronic, all those, and I, to be fair, I haven't got a clue how I won it. I haven't got a clue. Even Oldie said, "I just don't know how you won it, mate. You played it for a month. These guys have been playing for like 6, 7 years." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not too sure either, mate." But yeah, me and Hell are very good friends as well. And I've got to tell a story on this, mate. Me and Hell through EPS, like we played. He basically showed me how to play Quake 3. Me and him played all the time, and he was very good. And he'll hate me for telling this story. He really will. But we played, and I hate ZTN, mate. I hate ZTN with a passion. We must have practiced that map. No joke, probably 45, 50, 60 times we played it, yeah? He battered me every single time. I couldn't stand it. And I used to say to him, "Look, mate, I can't stand playing this map, but I can play it if I need to." And I said, in practice, I just can't be asked. I really can't. I hate the map. I just think it's a waste of 15 minutes of my life. So in the EPS final, it was me and him. And guess what map I picked as my home map?
Yeah. Oh, that
I
map
picked Z-
again.
I picked ZTN against him, and he
Yeah.
looked at me and was like, "What are you doing? You've never won it in your life." Oh, I destroyed him on it. He was so pissed. He was unreal. He was like, "What the?" He was like, "What?" But yeah, it's still like I say, it'll bug him that I'm telling this story because he's like, "I still can't live that down. I can't believe I lost ZTN to you." And he said, "You'd never beaten me in practice at all on it." And then you pick it as your home map in the finals at EPS, and I'm like,
That's just so brilliant as well, you know, that you had the balls to pick it. It was just like, because you probably felt confident enough to pick it anyway, you know, just because
all, all,
yeah,
all
sorry.
I thought was, if I get the lead and I beat him on this map, it's just totally gonna mind
Yeah.
mess him up.
Oh, so
And I think it worked.
it was the first map. It was several
Yeah, yeah,
maps. Yeah. So that was the first
yeah,
map. Yeah. So he must have been tilted as hell then, going into tilted
yeah,
as
yeah. He
hell.
was.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jesus. That's really cool, actually. Yeah, because I actually, that's one of the things that I wanted to ask you about. This just random Quake 3 event, you know, because Quake Live was out, and you know,
Yeah,
it's like Quake 3 was the game sort of before Quake Live, but and then why do you know why they played Quake 3 in EPS that year?
I haven't got a clue, mate. Not a clue.
Okay.
Like I said, I didn't really follow the Quake scene that much. And like I say, if when I remember, like Quake 4, I think most people that played Quake 3 didn't really like Quake 4, so it was quite of a separated. Like it was like two separate games. You know, where you like got the Quake 2s, the Quake 3s, the Quake Lives. They're all basically the same game, and everyone who played Quake 3, Quake 2, Quake all played the game. But when it came to Quake 4, there was like, nah, this ain't Quake. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
There was like,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I thought Quake 4 was one of the best Quakes. Other than, I actually think Quake Champions is one of the better Quakes because all the other Quakes are the same. There's nothing never different.
Yeah.
It's like with Quake 4, you had crouch sliding. It put that extra bit of skill and something different to the game in there instead of basically just remaking the same game, just a little bit better graphics. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a nice change. That's why I enjoyed Quake 4 more than Quake Live, more than Quake 3. And that was why it was so nice when Quake Champions come out with all the different champions, all the different abilities, the things you had to learn. And then they had the different format at the time, how they had the duel with the 3 champion thing. I thought it was great. because I was like, it's so different to a normal. You still got the rocket launcher, the LG, you still got the Quake stuff in there, but it's different. And it gives people. It really does show people who are very good at a game, because they have to adapt. They have to adapt. They either adapt or can't play, and that's why you find a lot of the old pros that played Quake 3 that come over and just dumped on Quake Champions because there's like, this ain't Quake, this ain't that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Basically all they're saying is we can't adapt to this game and play it professionally because we can't cope in our brains how to use abilities, or you got light champions, this movement, that movement. How do you use it? You know what I mean? It just really showed who was a true professional that could adapt to the game. Um, so that's why I loved it, because I've played, like I said, I've played that many different FPS games, that it was nice to kind of start on a level playing field, instead of going in against Quake players that have been playing Quake 3 for 10 years and then going into Quake Live. I remember starting Quake Live, and I couldn't win a game. It was everyone I played against, not like professionally, just random guys would destroy me, literally destroy me. I was entering cups, and my aims was to get through, just win one game in the cup to get to the second round. And then if I lost, I was like, okay, that's one. And then I'd play again next week and go, okay, let's try and get to the third round, or the fourth round, and I just carried on. But I can see why, as well, new people come into the game find it difficult, because who wants to play a game where you're going to keep getting battered every match, just destroyed? There's no fun. I stuck at it because I'm stubborn, and I was like, I'm going to make sure I win games. I'm going to get good at this game, and I love competing. So that was the other thing, and I love seeing my progress as I'm going along. But when I first started, it was like loss after loss after loss, this, that. And like I say, it took me a good few months before I started getting into the realms of playing against the good players, actually getting to the semis, to the finals, to this, to that. But I always saw it as a challenge, and I thought it was great. And seeing the improvement, I just loved it. I just loved that guy. I loved the underdog story. You get what I mean? Like, everyone thinks you're crap, and then you're like, oh, you've just won a game. You get what I mean? It's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah. The feeling is like, yeah, Buzz, get in there. But yeah, I just loved it. I just love challenging myself, and and trying to cause upsets. That's I just love it. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely, and I feel like that kind of seeds out the what future champions or whatever. Like you say, if you're a newcomer, you come into that game, you get completely fucked over every time. Like for you to be able to just say, fuck it, I'm gonna beat these guys, and that takes a lot of stubbornness and dedication and stuff. So that's why at the same time that's what makes Quake so good, I feel like, because it
Yeah,
it, it takes so much to master it. If you look at Counter-Strike, I mean, sure, if you go into a if you go into a cup in Counter-Strike Source or Global Offensive or whatever, you've never played, you're gonna get your ass smacked, but you're at least gonna get a kill or so, and the progress
yeah,
can still be quite fast, But I believe do you agree with that? Like in Quake, it's
yeah.
different.
Definitely, and I think this is why BRs have taken off
Yeah,
quite well the last few years, or whatever, 5 years. Is because anyone can pick them up, and you can possibly win a game. If you get what I mean, or you can get kills, or you camp to the end, and I've got it in the top 10, and you don't even have to shoot anyone. You could just hide.
yeah,
And but people feel like, oh, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. This is me getting better, and it's easy to do so. So you can jump in the game and enjoy yourself, or feel like you're amazing at the game. And that's why when you have to put a bit of effort into, that's like I say, I got a lot of respect for. I remember like Mac, even Dave, Zanaku, Maxter. Them are the two names that pop out. There's many other names that are in the pro league. But I remember playing Maxter back in the day. I remember when he first started playing. Jesus, I used to beat him. Like, I remember playing one game against him. I like being 20 old him. It wasn't even a challenge. And then to see how he plays now is amazing. Like the time and dedication it takes in this game is you can't just play it for a couple like a week and think you're going to be amazing. The time and effort it puts in to constantly evolve and to get to the top of your game. And Zanaku's the same. When I used to first play him, it was easy. I didn't even have to try. And now he's like slapping me around. You get what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
the dedication and the time these players put in to get good at the game, or not good, but very good at the game. Um, I admire it. It's amazing, and I don't think there's many other games. Um, I say that. I lie. Like say the top League of Legends and the CS at the top. You have to put the effort in to get there. You get what I mean? But in this game, like I say, it's a lot of dedication to get there, and I feel it pays off. You get, I mean, the feeling when you get there, it's just amazing when you all that time and effort you put in, and then you start seeing the results, and you start playing, beating these players that you couldn't before. I think it's just yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, yeah, and that's why I love it at least because it's so of course it's similar to other esports, but at the same time it's also very different.
Yeah.
It's just raw skill, raw talent, raw dedication. Um, and I wanted to ask you, I don't know if you're gonna be able to respond to this because it's a pretty hard question, but do you think that that's why the Quake scene is small uh, compared to the other ones? That
Oh,
because as a newcomer you come in and you just get absolutely blasted. You
yeah,
the game is on Steam and you try it out and you get fucked and then you're like, okay, fuck this game.
yeah. Because people jump on it and go, "Well, this ain't fun. I'm getting bad. I don't want to play a game that I can't even get a kill on." You get what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, So yeah, they've come play for a bit and then go. But you kind of get. I kind of picture Quake as like the UFC or boxing. It's like a lot more people love watching it than actually playing it. It's like cage fighting. You get in there, it's hard work. Everyone ain't gonna jump in the cage and fight. You get what I mean? But most people love to watch it. You get what I mean? You get what I mean? I enjoy watching it, and that's a bit like Quake. You got the guys who are dedicated to that game, who are fighting each other, but then the spectators like this game's amazing to watch. You get what I mean?
yeah,
And I think like you say, as a player base, it's very tiny. But I think that's why, because you're jumping in a pool with sharks and you're a little fish, and you're like, yeah, stuff this, I'll get it out of here. This is, you get what I mean? Um, but then you do get the players that are dedicated and the new youngsters that are coming up that are like, yeah, I want to get good at this game. And if people actually stuck at it for like a month, they'd see the improvement and that. But like I say, a lot of kids and youngsters want to jump on games and think they're amazing at it straight away. And that's where I think the BRs come in. Because like say you can play that any BR game and kind of like
yeah,
get good at it, or you get what I mean, or you're at a decent level and you feel great in yourself. It's like, oh yeah, I'm already 2 days in and I'm already getting top 10. Da 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 da. You get
yeah,
what I mean?
exactly. And I also feel like one of the reasons why Counter Strike and League of Legends and yeah BR games are so insanely huge compared to Quake is I think one of the reasons is because you don't have to like because there's so many people playing it on just for fun, like on a hobby
Yeah,
level. But because they do that, one they bring in numbers that of course helps sponsors. It helps with a lot of stuff, and often these games also have like money systems. You can buy skins and stuff, which also helps.
yeah,
Um, but also the fact that as long as you play the game and you feel like if you have anything in your head that says that I'm decent at this game, I can play this game. I also think that you enjoy watching it. So
yeah,
the numbers we see watching Counter Strike, for example, because I don't know about League of Legends, but it's probably super huge as well. But all I know is Counter Strike, and the numbers there are huge, right? A lot of people watch it. It's a spectator sport, really. Uh,
yeah,
and I really like what you said there because about Quake because that's exactly what I think because Quake is a spectator sport, but it's exactly like UFC. I remember Seneca said exactly the same thing when we talked, or he at least made the he compared those two, uh,
Yeah,
because yeah, you don't need to be you don't need to be playing the game to enjoy it. But I definitely think it still plays a role in how big of a because when you talk about a scene, you don't necessarily only talk about uh, the active player pool, like the tier one scene. You also talk about the people who just play for fun, the people who just
yeah,
you know who just sit down after work and play a couple of games and drink a beer or whatever. You know that's what people do with Counter Strike, but it's not the same
yeah.
with Quake.
The casual gamer.
Yeah. So exactly. So what I wanted to touch on there is like because you came from Quake 4, for example, and I know the Quake 4 scene wasn't the biggest, but it was still it was a couple of tournaments. I remember it was like WSVG in like New York. You had ESWC, I think. You had
Yeah.
like big organizers organizing tournaments. Was if you compare it to Quake Champions, was the scene bigger? Like in terms of spectators and stuff.
Um, you're making me think here. I think there's been more tournaments for Quake Champions, and the tournaments were bigger for Quake Champions. Um, and probably the audience was bigger in Quake Champions. But for community, um, I've never felt like if you get if you can imagine, Quake 4 again had like clan base, Nations Cup, um, and that kind of thing, TDM cups, where I think Quake Champions has never had that. It's never had the Nations Cups. It's never had, you know what I mean, like the TDMs and all that. It's literally Quake Champions has just been about what is being played professionally. Is it 2v2s? Is it sacrifice? Is it duel? And that's what's been played. There's not been anything really external done. Um, not like on the tier of like Quake 4 and probably all the previous Quakes. Um, I know there's some leagues for 2v2 and amateur leagues and stuff being played for Quake Champions, but like Nations Cup, I think it would be amazing having a Nations Cup for Quake Champions, but I don't think, like I say, I just don't think the community or the amount of players that play it, there'd be enough players from each country to have a Nations Cup, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Which format would you play? Would it be like 4v4 or because I
Well, I don't know if the maps are big enough for 4v4. Um, but yeah, because like all the other Nations Cups I've ever played in, it's been TDM. 4v4. So that's what I'm picturing in my head. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, something like that. Um, I think would actually grow the community as well, and give other players that are not playing in the professional scene something to play and enjoy as well. Getting, like I say, getting drafted for your country to represent them in a
That's big.
Nations Cup is, yeah, it was great. It's the same as ESWC was amazing. It's like the best players go and represent their country in Electronic Sports World Cup, um, and you compete against all the other best players in their countries, um, which was always, well, it's. I think it was a great honour to go and represent your country at that. It's like representing yourself, like the Olympics and stuff, ain't it? It's like the
Yeah.
Olympics of esports kind of thing.
Yeah, because I kind of feel like one of the reasons also why the scene is sort of lacking a little bit is also because the gap between playing just for fun, you can do that in Quake Champions, but for you to start competing on a serious level, there's just pretty much just one thing to play, and that is around QPL. That's where all the like serious competition is.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's all based around challengers basically. There is, like you said, a few 2v2 community tournaments, stuff like that, but it's still very lacking. So I totally agree with you. I think that we would need something like that in order to grow the player base and also to seal the player base more, like to have a more, because we have people playing Quake, but it's not like it's on and off. It's just they're not really dedicating themselves to it. We only have
Yeah.
maybe 30, 20, 30 people who seriously dedicate their time, and that is
Yeah.
including QPL players. Uh, so for us to have more people who dedicate themselves to the game, I feel like, yeah, more chances to compete on a decent level with like good production and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, if there's, and for that, I feel like we need external organizers to jump in. Yeah, ESWC stuff like that. Uh, but I don't know, man. It's been rather quiet for Quake Champions recently. I mean, if you because back in 2017 there was a lot of tournaments. There was like DreamHack. There was
Yeah.
an ESWC in Paris, I remember.
Yeah.
Um,
I
it was
won that
like,
one.
yeah, go ahead.
I said I won that one.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. That's why That's like, cause that's also one of the things I wanted to talk about, because you said very clearly that you were really like, when it come to, because back then it wasn't the same dual format as we have now. It was the three champions format, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you like, for those who don't know, it was like you just spawn with a champion. If you die, you spawn with a new champion, right? And you
Yeah.
have to take out the other player's three champions, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, and then you win one round, and then it's
Yeah.
best of three, I guess. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so that, like you said, that was a completely different format, and you were, if you look at your achievements, like you were really like a really really top player back then. I mean, you're still a top player, but you know what I mean. Like you won ESWC and shit like that, right?
Yeah. Well, 2017, I stepped down a little bit from running the company that I've been running for 13 years. So I actually dedicated a lot more time in 2017, start of 2018 to Quake. But yeah, it was probably my best results, my best years, 2 years of Quake. Like I say, because I came from Denver, where I come second in Denver, Raisley won Denver. Then we went to ESWC, where I won that. Then we went somewhere else and I did really well there as well. Um, and then it just, I kind of, stepped back a little bit then, and I started doing other stuff. Not other stuff, but I was still playing. But it, your mind gets occupied, if you get what I mean. I think this is what we mean with why the younger generation kind of have a bit more of I'd say an advantage a little bit. I know I've got experience, but when you're younger and all you've got to worry about is probably school, and playing games. If you're playing professionally, your mind's not. You know what I mean? It's not so busy, if that makes sense. So you can focus more on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because I think that's my problem at the moment. I lose focus in my game. I feel like I'm not playing bad. My aim, my this to that, but my focus is just not. I think that's what makes the players nowadays the difference between. I think all the top 16 players are probably as equal, as in combat skills and whatever else and blah blah blah. But it comes down to who can hold the nerve, who can keep the focus, who doesn't tilt, who doesn't. You know what I mean? If you can control all these things, this is what makes you into the very best. That's why you always see the Rafa, the Kilsons, the Raises, the Vengers at the top consistently, because their focus on the game and how to react to what's happening and not get tilted and not do it, and it keeps the consistency level of those players is at the top. And I think again that's why I fall off a bit, because something will happen in the game, same with what happens to everybody, and it tilts me or I get annoyed. And as soon as you get annoyed, you might as well just write GG, because you're just not focused anymore. And I think with my work and what's been going on in the past few months and other issues and stuff, my mind's just hasn't been in the game to play. I want it to be, but it's just not. And that's why I said I think the younger generations or the younger players that are coming up, they've got like a nice clear mind and can actually focus on what they're doing. Um, so yeah, it's well, I'm trying. I'm trying to get back there. I'd love to be competing at the top level again, but I'm struggling. I'm struggling at the moment, and I'm trying my best to get back. I'm trying.
Yeah, that makes me very happy to hear, and I think everyone else as well. And I think I mean, you're doing your best. You know what I mean? And that's what matters. Because you can't really help that your mother passed away and that stuff's been going on. You've got another job. It's like you can't do much about it. You know. And it's all about what you make it. That you're still around. That you're still trying. I think that's the most inspirational part. And also, but yeah, things can turn. You know, you never know. Like I think you know that if anything, you know, you can have a down period and then you can come back. You know, it's like new
Yeah, definitely.
opportunities come up. You know, that's just how it is. But yeah, the fact that you still work with Maestro, I think that's really cool. Uh, you know, even if you said that Nigel does everything, you know, but you probably still do it. You probably still do stuff, you know, and like, you know what I mean? It's still dedicated and active in the scene. I think that's what matters. But I just wanted to ask you a quick little thing, because
Yeah,
one of the things that I really find interesting about Painkiller is that the scene is kind of similar to Quake in a way that it was very small. Am I not mistaken? It was very small.
I think it's was smaller than Quake, mate.
Yeah, and
It was basically the 16 players that went on the tour.
and
That's
that
all it was.
and that's what I wanted to ask because you say that it was 16 players going on a tour, but you said that you could like just pay and go, or were you invited to play? Because you played a
No,
couple of them.
if you could enter them, you could just you didn't have to qualify. You didn't have to think either. Just go. This stop is in Singapore. This is where it is. That's the dates. Sign up. Go. You know what I mean? As long as
Yeah.
you turned up, you could play. They give you a PC. There you go.
Jeez,
Um,
man.
but
Wow.
over the 16, over the top, over the 10 event. I don't know if it was 9 or 10 events stops in that year. You got points to then get invited or qualify for the grand finals in
New York.
New York.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. So that's awesome as well. You know that it's like because that's I feel like that's something that I'm not sure here. But somewhere in my head I feel like that's something that you saw more often back in the days than you see now. Uh, I mean, in Quake we can't really because we have so few tournaments anyway, but in like Counter-Strike and other scenes, uh, there used to be more events. I feel like where it was open for everyone. You know, it was LAN events that were open for everyone, and I feel like
yeah,
that's kind of shifted now. It's become because LAN events have become more of a uh, you know, you can only you have to
qualify.
qualify,
Yeah,
and that's why I found the whole Painkiller thing was so cool because I don't think they made much money from it. Yeah, it was like an investment probably. Someone just because of the small player base. I don't know. Was it a lot of
yeah.
money? Could you make money from that as a
If you was
producer?
as a producer, I was to say as a player, I'm not sure, mate. Back then it was new to me, so I don't know. Was Twitter was Twitch about back then? I don't think it was. I don't even think Twitch was around back
No,
then.
no, I
So
don't think it was.
I I I don't know the kind of numbers they got when they were streaming. I never looked at it, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So
All right.
um, and like I say, the people there wasn't really an audience really at the event. So yeah, just I haven't got a clue, mate. Literally, it was either maybe sponsorship, put in the money, and then just like to these events kind of thing. Um, but like I say, back then, I don't know the amount of viewers it had. Like I say, I remember going to the events, but it was basically just the team, like the players and like the managers there.
Yeah.
And then you'd have a few random, like you say, who could just sign up. So if it was in Italy, the stop was in Italy, you'd have a few Italians sign up that
Yeah.
have probably never even touched the game. They were like, "Oh, let's play over here."
Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, you had like 16 players, and each event probably had about 20 players. 20 odd players. You had a few random guys sign up, but it was always the same top 16 in the top playing. But yeah, looking back, mate, I haven't got a clue how how they made it work or whatever, because I don't think the viewership would have been great or anything. But the actual tour itself for the players was it was pretty good, because when you got to an event, so if it was in the UK, if it was Italy, if it was this, or if we were there, or Singapore, they actually took all the top 16 players, or the players that were there, on like a day out to see the local area, so like landmarks for that area or wherever you was. So it was very interesting, to be fair. It was definitely ahead of its time for
Yeah,
back then. When you think playing professional games wasn't um, really well known. Um, so yeah, it was pretty amazing. But literally, that's the only thing that kept Painkiller alive. I think that tour was a year long, and
yeah,
then as soon as the final was done, no one played it anymore.
yeah,
There was no more tournaments. That was it. It's done.
yeah,
But the amount of people I talk to who say, "Man, it was amazing watching Painkiller. It was great. It was a bit like you say, Quake. The people love watching it, but didn't actually play it much. Um, so yeah, it's very interesting how it worked back then, mate. Very interesting.
yeah. Because I know because we had gone like in the discussion we'd gone way back, way ahead of Painkiller, but I still went back to it because I honestly think that's super cool. Like obviously I was 7 years old at the time. I had no clue that it was running, but I've been doing my research, and like yeah, it was just so interesting because it was $1 million in the whole rotation, and back then
Yeah,
that was a lot of money for even for esports, and for Fatality and Vu, I
so,
think was like
yeah,
sort of the players who were always battling for the top one, and the amount because Fatality won the world finals afterwards. That was 150
yeah,
mil, $150,000. The amount of money that he made in that year, he could probably live off of for like I don't know 10 years after that.
yeah,
Because so there was money to be made. But yeah, it stood out for me. It really did because of like I said how sort of different it was. It was ahead of its time.
yeah,
So what I'm thinking is that it was probably because it was CPL running it, but it was probably
yeah,
a big investment, which someone just came in and I have a shit ton of money and let's do something funny because as you say, not really a big viewership. I mean, I don't know obviously, but it probably didn't have a super big viewership. Um, so it was probably no way that you could get all that money back. It was more like a
no,
more like an investment. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
yeah. But still, cool, cool. Um, so we've sort of been talking a lot about your career, like because there was a time in 2019 when you actually played a little bit of Apex. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. I played. Yeah, I went. Well, I actually played. Was it? What was the Call of Duty one? Was it Black Ops? Black
Black Ops. Yeah.
Blackout? Blackout?
Oh,
No, it was
Blackout.
something else.
I don't know.
I can't remember. They released. It was a Call of Duty. They released like single BR for, and that was amazing. I was hoping that went somewhere because I was playing that all the time, and it just died. Um, but yeah, then I went to Apex. So yeah, in 2019, I went and played Apex. Played in the Invitational, and yeah, we played quite a few online tournaments that were out for it as well. But yeah, Apex when it first came out was again, geez, I was addicted to it. I can't remember the last time that I got up in the morning. I was like, yeah, I want to play. I want to play games, and then I'll be on it till 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. You get what I mean? And it's like, oh, me and Hell literally just hammered it. It was like, oh, this is amazing. Um, but yeah, yeah. It was probably a good year out. Um, but again, team games, mate. It comes back to team games, and I'm like, yeah, I want to duel again.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that seems to be the thing for you. And yeah, if it's working, it's working. And then after that, you came back to Quake when QPL came around because you were part of the first player base for QPL from the kickoff, right? Because you were invited. Uh,
Um, yes, I don't think I was in. I was the first. I think someone dropped out, and I
oh,
took
okay.
the place.
Yeah, but
I
still.
wasn't on the first run. I wasn't the first pick. I was the reserve. But yeah, I hadn't played Quake Champions for probably over a year. Um, and yeah, I got invited to go and play at the first QPL. So yeah, I was chucked in the deep end. Really, I was like, not played for over a year, but okay, let's have a go. So, but yeah, it was good. Like I say, I enjoyed it. I love Quake, so I love being back and competing and dueling and that. So yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. And and then you actually you were relegated, right? And you tried qualifying back in. I think for quite some time actually. I think you were relegated in like, if I remember it correctly, because I'm doing this, I'm not looking anything up right now, but I think you were relegated from QPL in like November 2019. From
I think it was season two. I think after the first season, Cypher took my spot because I played Cypher at Italy, and it was a best of five. I went two up and lost 3-2,
yeah,
and he took my spot. Then the next challenges I didn't qualify for.
no,
Again, I had something going on in real life, so I didn't really try for that. And then I think season three, I got back in. Um, if I'm trying to remember back here now, mate, geez. I think there was only one season I missed. Or did I miss two? I can't
no,
remember.
no, you didn't
I,
miss two.
I,
No,
I must have been not in for because I remember I had to beat Tox to get back in the QPL, and
okay,
I remember being in there before that, so I might have been relegated twice, and then went through challenges and qualified
yeah.
back in again. I
Yeah,
think.
because from what I can remember, I just looked at your profile before the call, and I think you were off for about a year, uh,
Hmm?
out of QPL,
Okay.
and then you
Yeah.
came back in like December 2020, I think. And you
Okay.
qualified from so you qualified from like a, what's it called? Yeah, you qualified to an event and from challengers, right? And then came
Yeah.
back. Yeah. Uh, so yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. I'm used to losing, mate. I'm very good at that.
no, 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 not at all. I mean,
When I'm in the league, I don't win anyway, so I'm the happy idiot at the bottom, mate.
well, I mean, I always thought that, as long as you're part of QPL, that's cool because it honestly it still takes a lot to keep your spot as well. You know, because you play versus some of those challengers who qualified. They're skilled as well. They're skilled as hell,
Yeah.
and the fact that you can still defend your position is good enough, honestly, I think. But I don't know. I quite like the new format that they have now. That in Dallas
The
there'll be,
global.
yeah, and also in Dallas there will be eight. If you make it top eight in the first stage that is being played now, you secure your spot.
Yeah.
If there's gonna be another season, we don't know, but anyway, you secure your spot. But if you make it below top eight, you play. There's like eight challengers in
Yeah.
Dallas, which is pretty cool because previously it was pretty hard to get into QPL because
Yeah.
two players in relegation, all you had to do was win the first game and then you secured your spot again. Um, so I think the new format is really good for Quake.
Yeah. It gives a lot more possibilities for new players to give them some incentive to playing and getting into the tournaments.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's always good.
yeah, yeah. It sure is. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I'm hoping that you qualify. Honestly, it would be cool to meet you in
Hopefully, I've
in
got three more chances, mate. Three more
yeah,
chances.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a global. You're attending the global this
I've got there's two more. One
two
more globe,
two more
two
globals.
more,
Yeah,
and then one EU, isn't there? So I got
one.
three.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
play the other ones as well. I mean, no, wait, you can't.
No, you can't. No,
Oh
because
shit.
there's a North American, South American.
Australia. So
An Australian, yeah.
yeah,
So there's three more, there's six more qualifiers, I think, and there's only three I can play in.
yeah, yeah.
So hopefully.
Um, so I remember that the first qualifier you actually played from South Africa, and
Oh yeah.
I wanted to ask, like, what's because you have a South African flag in Quake Champions, right? Like, what's your connection to South Africa?
Basically, just my mum. I've not really got any connection to South Africa. My mum and dad moved and lived in South Africa for 20 odd years. So since I've been about 10 years old, I've been going back and forth from Africa, and I know a lot of the pro gamers um, well, the pros that were out there. So every time I go out, I do go and visit them and see them. Um, so yeah, that's only literally my link. My uncle's been there 40 years. So yeah, I wasn't born there. I wasn't. You know what I mean?
Okay.
There's nothing South African about me, other than my parents have lived there. Um, so yeah, that's the story on South Africa. But I have got an interest. I don't know if you want to hear this, but I remember. Oh, when was it? There used to be like a theme park in Cape Town, and I just finished. This is between Painkiller and going to Quake4. So after the Painkiller World Tour stopped, I went to South Africa for 3 weeks, visit my mum and dad, and when I was going to get back, I was going to start playing Quake4, so I was having a little bit of a break. And we went to this theme park, and in the middle there was a stage where they have shows, but they had like a computer setup, like they was playing a competition there, PCs. And I walked over and I was like, "Oh, what's going on here?" Like blah blah blah. Talked to the guy, and he was like, "Oh, it's a Quake 4 tournament for all the South African players." Um, I said, "Oh, can I play?" And he goes, "Oh, no, 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 no. You had to qualify or sign up online before this. This is actually the event." I was like, "Oh, okay, no problem, sound." And just started walking off. And my uncle was with me, and he shouted, "You've got to let him play. He's the best player in the world." And I was like, "Oh my god, don't start." And there was like, "Well, who is he?" And he goes, "I don't know, Gareth." And then he went, "Gareth, tell him who you are." I said, "Oh, I said I've just been playing Painkiller. I'm GaRpY." And he looked at me and went, "Nah, no, you're not." I said, "I am." He said, "Prove it." So I went online, showed him my face, and he goes, "Oh shit, we want you in this tournament. We want okay, okay." And the one kid who was there stood up because you had to take your own PC. It was their PCs, and the one kid who was playing in the tournament, he goes, "Mate, I'm shit at Quake. I'm not going to do any good. I'll be out in the first round." He says, "Have my PC. You can play on my setup, and you can have my spot."
Jesus.
So literally, I spent like 4 days there competing and I never played Quake 4 before. I think I come third or fourth. But yeah, it was just funny situation where it was like, yeah, no problem. There you go. Here's a PC you can play. Um, but yeah, I think because you had I don't know if you know Phantom and there's a few other really good Quake players from South Africa. I think Phantom's actually um, been across to playing quite a few, a couple of European tournaments.
Yeah.
But he was basically the best South African player. I like to say, when I go out there, we still meet up, we have a drink, and sometimes he'll go, like, "Let's play some Quake or Quake 3, Quake Live, Quake Champion." So we have a blast. But yeah, I've always kept in touch with them all from that day. And it's really funny because it's such a small world. Because before I started playing games, actually one of the players was my dad's real life my dad's real life friend. His son was actually one of the professional, like one of the players that played with all these. So I've known him from a kid, and basically we both playing professionally. And like I say, we knew each other before that. So yeah, just Yeah, small world, mate. Absolutely, just a small world.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, yeah. I've had quite a few of those experiences, but it's quite cool, honestly. What was this? Was it what was that tournament? Rage Expo? Which tournament was it?
No, Rage was, mate. I haven't got a clue.
All right, what? Like you don't
I,
have to look it up.
I'll
You,
I'll click it, 2 secs. I'll try and I'll do it while we're talking.
yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it would be cool to know, but yeah.
Nah, I don't think it's on here, mate. I'll just put it in. I'd have to ask probably one of the players.
Yeah.
They'll probably tell me.
All
But
right.
yeah, I cannot remember. I can't remember the year it was in. So it'd be when Painkiller ended to God knows, well, that'd be 2006, 2007 or something like that.
Yeah,
I
probably
can't remember.
2006. Yeah.
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 So
It's whatever. It's still a cool story. Yeah. That's the fact that he didn't believe that you were GaRpY, that's the one that struck me. Like, well, if he knows, if he knew who you were, but he didn't know how you looked. So it was like, because obviously
well,
you.
that's the thing. No, that's what I'm saying about when you asked about it was Painkiller covered much. So if
Okay.
there was streams and that, you would have thought that okay, I know who you are. You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah. So you don't
Uh,
know how the players looked, kind of. You just
yeah,
knew
yeah,
the.
yeah. You
Oh
just knew
yeah.
the name.
Ah yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think that's probably one of the things that stuck to you. It sounds like, and I wanted to ask you, what is the? This is going to be a hard question for you, or maybe it's not. Maybe you've
Okay.
got this set in your head already. But what is the best memory that you have from your entire esports career? And this is going to be hard, but I don't know.
In professionally playing or just playing games in general.
I don't know. Let's say
So
like
we do both.
competing. Yeah.
Well, compete. Well, it's well easily. I would say is winning the SWC. Is probably for two reasons that probably is because one, I don't think anyone ever believed, other than Nigel, because Nigel was my manager at the time. I didn't own Myztro at the time, and he believed that I could win, but in myself, I probably didn't. Um, so winning that was a big confidence boost. Um, so that's always stuck in my mind. And the other thing is as well, why that event was pretty special to me as well, is no one has ever won from the UK at anything in ESWC since it's been running. So that's it across all games, CS,
Okay.
Quakes, Clash Royales, everything. I was the first UK player to ever win a
Wow.
gold medal at ESWC as well. So yeah, so it was pretty special from them 2 points of view, basically.
Yeah, that's extremely big, being the first UK player who wins. That's a historical moment right there. And
Yeah,
it must have been a good fucking run that you did, for the whole, like, just winning the whole tournament. I mean, I know this 2017 was still early days for Quake Champions, but I can imagine that everyone
there was
yeah, sorry.
yeah the on the because there was a lot of you had to groups and qualify. It was like a qualifier groups and everything. I think if I
Yeah, yeah,
remember right, it is to be see. And I remember this is a weird point because on the first day, I remember I was playing in the groups. I was playing Carwick. I don't know
yeah,
if you remember
yeah. The
Carwick.
Polish, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I was playing him, and I nearly lost. I literally nearly lost to him, and I remember after the first map, and Nigel says, "Gareth, what's going on?" Nigel actually like the first map. Actually, it was the second map, but the first map I destroyed him, and then the second map I was winning, and Nigel walked away to check on Razy or the other players we had there, and he come back, and I was lost, and I was really annoyed that I lost the second map after Thingy, and then the third map I was losing, and I remember Nigel going, "Mate, just calm down, just calm down, and just play your game. Stop playing his game." And I actually beat him, and then from there, I literally just went on a run. Like I don't think it was any games that were actually close after that. I literally went through the lot.
Yeah.
and 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 won it pretty easy.
Hmm. Yeah. Just prove.
So
I just suppose proves that it's all in the head. It's like
yeah,
it's the mental part is so extremely important.
yeah,
And
just trying to keep your head is it's hard. It's hard work.
yeah. Yeah, and I think Quake in particular is also a very mental game if you compare it to other games. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know, I don't know if it's like compared to I always compare stuff to Counter Strike. It's the only game I've competed in. But of
yeah.
course,
But I know what you're saying. Like you say in CS, it's you've got a buy time, so each round's different. So you've got like a rest, if you
yeah,
know what I mean,
yeah,
where you got time to you got timeouts, you
yeah,
talk to your teammates, then you buy in. Okay, we're going to do this. Where Quake's just 10 minutes of
yeah,
you, you've got you can't do anything. It's like constant thinking, timing, this. It's just no let up whatsoever. So it is quite strenuous mentally. And when you think like I couldn't imagine like the amount of finals Rafa and Razy have had where it's a best of seven and you've got to hold your mental state
yeah.
across 7 maps and it's like I say Razy's not only Rafa as well but Razy's done some stuff where I think I remember in Italy I think he lost pretty early on and then he had to beat geez he went through I think like Cypher Kilson base. They're all in the lower bracket, and then had to play Rafa in two best of threes, which he won as well. And I'm like, he's mental. You just got to be so mentally strong to go through all those hard matches and just yeah. I'd be knackered after one. Can I have a
Yeah,
day off? I'll come back tomorrow and play the rest, guys. All
exactly.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Play one map each day. Yeah, that would be cool. That would change the whole thing. But yeah, no, I understand what you mean, and I think it's a good point. It's I think people underestimate how much it actually takes probably to. And I'm just talking. I'm not talking out of experience because I don't know, but I can
Yeah,
I can I can understand it, because I've been standing behind my players a lot. They've been like talking to me about how it is and stuff, and I can see that it's extremely mentally challenging at times to
yeah,
play. Uh, and just comes down to that fact that you can't pass the game. It's like it's just 10 minutes, but it's also always 3 maps, and it's yeah,
yeah,
you just have to be there all the time. So yeah, absolutely. That is it's also what makes Quake very good, I suppose.
yeah.
Because
Definitely.
it takes more from the players to than in other games. And I
Yeah,
stand by that point. I stand by the point that I think Quake is probably the most skilled FPS title. I mean, yeah, the most skilled esport, I would say.
yeah.
I don't know. I
Definitely.
just people may not agree with, but I mean, it's like
Yeah, but they don't play Quake, so
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, they played, but they got absolutely hammered in the first round, and then they left. So, um, yeah, but that's really cool. Um, it's been really really cool talking about all of this. One thing that I always wanted to ask, like people who play on such a high level, because I know you may not agree with that, but you still play on a high level. That's for sure. And what do you dream of? What do you dream of now? Like because you've been around the world, you've won titles, you've played so much. What do you dream of in esports?
um, I'm probably in a different. When you ask me that question, I'm probably in a different position. Because I I don't think I'd personally dream of doing anything now. If you get what I mean, I'd love to be at the top again, but you get what I mean. I don't think I am. I could possibly get there, but we're running Myztro now. Is um the players doing well. You get what I mean? I love watching the players. You probably don't understand that watching your players, but watching Razy and Wenger play, it's actually more stressful than actually playing myself. Some of the games I'm watching, I'm like, but it's like on the edge of your seat, and and I'm like, it's just the amazing feeling. I know that feeling like when you're competing and you're having that, and that's what I get through watching raising Wenger, and the so what I dream of, like I say, is again our players, Myztro players, competing at the best they can and winning titles. For because when they win, it's like I'm winning as well. You get what I mean?
Yeah,
I love it. And I have more of a connection to Quake, the Quake players, than probably any of the other teams we've had, because I play Quake myself. So I practice with Wenger and Razy quite a lot, and they also talk to me about things that they're struggling with in the game that I've got more experience than them. I know it sounds daft because they're both better players than me, but um, they'll talk to me about scenarios and Gareth, what do you do in this situation? I'm feeling like this, and just help them, well, mentally and well, however I can. So, um, yeah, I just think that's more what I dream of is them getting the most out of Quake. Um, I think my time's been. I've done what I've done over since I like I say I've been competing since I was 17.
yeah,
So um, I'm now 36. Like I say, I'm old. I'm old in gaming now, mate. I'm just sitting there and watching,
yeah,
cheering people on,
yeah.
and
So
trying still to be there.
yeah, but I mean, so like I said, you still would like to compete, but at the same time, could you? Is it considerable that you would be like a full time, like a just work as a manager, travel with the players to all events, but you wouldn't play yourself, you'd just stand behind them?
Yeah, well, that'll be probably a dream. And Maestro is going well, so I can't see that being far off in the near future to actually travel around to and just be a full time manager, and the running of Maestro, and just supporting new players with talent to compete and like I say, if I've been in some teams that have been bad. I've been through it all. You know what I mean? Back in the day, it was nothing like it was now. So I kind of understand how I would like to be treated. So I think that's a good thing with me, kind of having a lot of interaction and kind of running Maestro is I treat players how I would have liked to be treated back in the day. Um, so I try and help them out as much as I can and just make it as comfortable as well, with no pressure. Like I say, we don't put any pressure on the players to win. We just like try do your best, and that's it. That's all we can ask is you do your best. There's no pressure, no whatever. We know you're amazing, so you get what I mean. Just play the best of your ability. Um, so yeah, but yeah, traveling around full time, like I say, I love the events. I love Quake events. I love the lands. I love it's like to me, it's one big family. You get what I mean? Especially in Quake, everyone knows everyone, and we're all like really good friends and all that. So it's always amazing to go to LAN events. Everyone competes against each other, and then we all have a laugh afterwards. You get what I mean? So yeah, it's great, and to be able to do that full time and potentially do it without playing, would be amazing. So yeah, probably that's probably a dream in the future to be, say, like the bigger teams. You get what I mean? And have the managers and whatever and that. So, but yeah, we're going there, and I think we're going in the right direction. So, in the near future, yeah, definitely.
Hmm. Yeah, that's nice to hear because with all your experience, that, like you said, that's like what makes a really good manager because you've been there yourself. You know what it takes, to reach the top, and also you know how it feels in certain situations. Because that's what you see in other games like Counter Strike, for example. Or the people who are now managers, or well, in Counter Strike you have coaches, right? And like, but
Yeah,
most of those coaches they've played. Like you see many 1.6 veterans who played like way back, who are now still active in Counter Strike Global Offensive as coaches or managers, and that's
yeah.
fantastic. So yeah, it would be cool to see more managers in Quake. Because even if it's if it's a single player game, there's still a big need for someone who stands behind you. I don't see the reason
Oh,
why you wouldn't have more like dedicated managers who's just a manager,
Yeah. And a good, like I say, a good example of that is ESWC 2017 when I was on a down and I had Apex Nigel behind me as the
Yeah,
manager, going, "Come on, Gareth, you do this to this. I'm watching this." I know Nigel. He's not played at a professional level, but the amounts of Quake he's watched and things, and he's very good at analysing and going, "This, that, Gareth. You need to do this. Try and do that." You know what I mean?
yeah,
And like I say, I think without him there, I probably would have never won.
exactly.
So it just proves that having managers there really does help.
Yeah. So I'd say that's also that's a dream for me to see more managers in Quake, because it also sort of proves the point that it is a serious esport.
Yeah,
It is an extremely serious esports, and you need a manager. You need someone who helps you with all that stuff as well. So yeah, hopefully in the future we'll see. But it would
yeah,
be whatever's in store. It's always like, because you never know where you're gonna land. That's the thing. Uh, you think that if you get the question, oh, where am I gonna be in a year? It's like, yeah, you have a pretty good picture in your head maybe, but
yeah.
things can take a completely different turn. I'm sure you know that's how life
Oh,
works.
definitely.
Yeah. So I'm actually like sort of rounding out the interview, but because it's I don't know how long we've been talking to, but probably over an hour. But one thing that I
You,
always ask, sorry, go ahead.
oh God. No, I was gonna say. You said it was gonna take 60 minutes. We've been going for 2 hours.
2 hours?
No, we're joking.
Oh, okay. Jeez.
That face. 2 hours.
Yeah, well, I,
It's,
I wasn't sure because time just passes by so freaking fast. Because it's like that's why I love doing this though. Anyway, one thing that I asked Seneku, I'm gonna ask every single guest on this thing at the same thing, but might be a hard question, might not be. Uh, what's your best tip for beginners? Like if you want to make it in Quake professionally, what should you do?
um, I think, like I said before, just don't give up. Um, keep trying, keep working on certain things. But the thing is just don't give up. Like say, if you're losing. Take the small positives. Like if you do start winning a game now and then, and it just sticking at it and learning. You just got to remember you're playing against players in Quake that have been playing for years. So yeah, for new players that are trying to get into Quake, is stick at it and just learn little things along the way. And then when you get a bit better, then advance. Timings, positions, when to push, not to push. You get what I mean? But yeah, I think the main one is just dedication and sticking at it, and you'll see the improvement.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Um, I'm sure people will love that.
Yeah, don't be a quitter.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like some people might think that well, I've heard that so many times, but there is so much truth in those words. If you
Yeah.
actually if you dissect those words, it is true. It is true.
Well, go back on my interview. If I quit from getting beat on Quake Live, I probably wouldn't be here now. You know what I mean? I'd be like, yeah, stuff this game. I'm not playing this anymore. I keep getting beat by everyone.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
I stuck in there and ground it out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Exactly. Damn, that's fucking inspirational to think about, though. Like the paths that you can take and shit. Yeah, that's
uh,
what I always love. It's just being stubborn, and I guess that's what you gotta be. Yeah, just being
yeah.
stubborn. Don't give up. Um, any last words from you that you would like to say?
Um, not really, mate. Thank you for the interview. It's actually been like you say, time flies. When you've been talking, I would say probably ain't been far off an hour and a half, mate. But yeah, it's no, it's been fun. It's always nice going back and looking through the history and stuff, and some good stories along the way. So yeah, just thank you for the interview, and thanks to Quake for putting these events on and the leagues and everything else, so we can all actually compete and get together and put these matches on for the community. You get what I mean? And people who love watching it. But yeah, it's just yeah, thank you for everyone who's involved.
Yeah, And those are the final words from GaRpY. And yeah, and I want to say thank you to you as well for taking your time. It's sort of like because because when I do this stuff, I'm like, dude, maybe they will just decline because I'm such a newcomer, compared to so many other people who's in the scene, and it's sort of I'm just a manager. Will they even like have any interest in talking to me? But that's one of the things that I remember so clearly from IRONFIST, that everyone was so welcoming. Like you
Yeah,
said, it's a big family, and that's what I love about it. So that's why these interviews are really great. Super thankful that you did it with me. Um, yeah, I don't have anyone else to thank because it's only been me doing this. Like no one else is really supporting me on this. It's just me. So yeah, just thank you so much, and I guess that's it. I'm just gonna yeah, let's go and enjoy our days, I suppose, and just I'll see you guys next time.
yeah,
Probably in a month, probably. Gareth,
yeah.
any finishing?
In a, what's
Huh?
in a month?
Sorry, what do you mean?
You said you see it. You see us in a month.
Yeah, in a
Is
month.
that
Yeah.
QuakeCon?
No, no, no,
Is it
no.
that soon?
The next interview, I gonna do them like
Oh,
monthly,
I thought you was
probably.
like, I was like, do you know about a land I don't know about? Are you gonna see us in a month? Oh,
Oh,
okay.
well, I mean, you never know. We might run into each other,
you,
as
you,
you know.
you confused me there, mate. You
Yeah.
confused me.
No, but you
Yeah, but
may.
no,
Yeah.
keep doing them, mate, because it's good for the community. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like you say, we're like one big family. So all the Quake players, I would have thought they'd be quite happy to do these interviews because they are interesting to get the background on players. So yeah, keep up good work, mate.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And yeah, that's it. Goodbye.